Okay, once again, I'm going to have keep the 70% handy, have the black and the 10% gray in your hand. Now we can see, look on the side farthest from the viewer, that's pretty much just all in shadow. So I'm just going to work my way down. I'm going to, in this drawing, I've come back later with black pencil. So you don't have to go real strong, though. You can go, kind of softly with the black marker, leaving a highlight on the edge of the closure, and then there's those little, what I think are magnets. I think that's how they're closing this jacket. So there's like these little long rectangular shapes, and I think they're magnets to close, but I'm leaving a highlight on that closure, or on the edge where the edge of the jacket's catching the light. But for the most part, it's pretty much in shadow. Now, on the arm that's farthest from the viewer, we're seeing more we see more of it in our drawing than in the actual garment here. So let's go down. We're going to leave highlight on the edge of the sleeve. We're going to come down, maybe leave a little highlight in between the bodice and the sleeve, and here we're going to get into some wiggly lines down the inside. And we can even intentionally try to make some kind of S shapes in there. Leave a little light. Down to the cuff, I'm going to hit and leave a highlight on that cuff. So I hit the outer edge of the cuff here. I left a highlight, and I hit the inside of the cuff. I didn't actually do anything with the 10% gray there, so I'll give you a second to draw that sleeve and go back in there in the bottom. So you can see where I've left the highlights are here along the edge of her body, along the edge of the sleeve, and then I've left a few highlights on the sleeve itself. Okay to continue? I'm just going to continue down that same side, the side farthest from the viewer. And again, we can see you're not seeing a whole lot of highlight in here. So let's leave a little bit of light in between her body and her arm. Let's make sure to leave a highlight on the surface here. That's funny that we're seeing. Oh, I do have the closure going the wrong way. Oops, did not mean to do that. We're seeing a little highlight where that fabric meets there where the jacket closes. It's dark in this top area, but then here we're going to start to see where the fabric is pulling, the leather is pulling across her leg. We're going to see some shapes in here. So now we've got we can leave some sort of long V shapes. And then, then it's going to get a little wiggly down here at the bottom. I kind of messed up my hemline, but, try to fix it. So I may have to lengthen her jacket a little bit on the other side. So I'm kind of just leaving those white highlights for now. I'm not trying to soften them. Over in this area, we're going to pull out that 10% gray and try to lay in the highlights or the shadow a little softer and leave a little bit of highlight. But I tend to go back over the drawing when it's finished with a light color to blend, to kind of blend the whole thing. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So yes, and we'll add a little white pencil, and we're going to add a little black pencil at the end of when we finish the drawing. Okay, shall we come down the other side now? All right, so look where her hand is in the pocket, and see what's happening there with the leather, how there's a strong kind of a black shape here. It's sort of soft in this area, but there's a strong shape coming down through here. Then there's a very strong shape and a very strong highlight. Now here, well, let's see, I'm just going to go with the strong shape first. Pulling towards where her hand is in the pocket and the leather is being pulled. So this is all a very strong black shape over here to her hand, pulling to her hand. Now in this area above, I'm going to go ahead and throw in a little 90%, or I'm sorry, not 90, 10% gray, and try to lay in that shape it'll be a little bit softer, but I'll still have a strong highlight or a strong shadow there. Okay, coming back in under her arm, and again, just looking for the shapes there, leaving a little highlight in between her sleeve and the jacket itself, a little highlight in there. So as you can see, when I do leather, I just kind of take it in sections. Now, not everybody might not do it that way, but that's the way I do it. I just kind of go section by section. I try to find shapes in the photograph that I'm looking at. And hopefully you have a good reference. You can usually, even if you can't find the exact jacket that you're doing, you can find something similar in the pose, and at least that's how I do it. That's what helps. Okay, now we've got this area below that. Okay, so we've still got the area of the jacket that's being affected by her hand being in the pocket. I'm throwing a little 10% in there. I'm going to make that jacket a little longer where I got it too long on this side. All right, so we notice underneath where her hand is and in the inside of the sleeve, it's very dark. Okay, so we can go ahead and put that. Then we can see there's a dark shape. I see a dark shape where her hand is affecting the leather in the pocket. So this shape here. Then I see another almost, you can see like where it's sort of a cup shape from her hand being in there. Now we can soften that up because it's not quite as dark, so we can soften it with that 10% if you want to. And then, once again, we've got almost like another cup shape. And again, I'm going to soften it up a little bit. This is kind of soft here, and then we get into a dark area where the jacket's opening up. I'm lengthening my coat a little bit because I kind of messed up and got it longer over here. So now I got to make the length measure on this, match on this side. So I'm pulling my length down a little bit. So I've got a solid black shape in there. Then I see kind of a sort of a triangular shape here in black. There's a strong highlight over here on this hip side. So putting some 10% in there. And we might even want to take that 70% and kind of hit along the side here of her jacket. Even that's a little bit strong. You might want to go in this area where it's so highlighted with the 70% instead of the black. I don't know. I'm going back in with the black. I think it's better just to kind of hit it with the 10% afterwards to soften it up. Oddly enough, when you go back in with a real light color over black, it will pull out some of the color. So now look at your drawing. When you get to this point, look at your drawing and then see, okay, where do I think I have too much highlight? And you can go back and sort of blend that